To much of the world, the image of Brazil is the 24-hour party known as CARNIVAL. But the front page of Rio's daily newspapers tell a very different story of drugs and guns and prostitution. In August of 2001, on TV Globo, Brazil's largest television network, there was a program called Drug Party. The program documented the unchecked drug sales, crime and prostitution in Rio's favelas, the slums, a story dangerous to capture on television. The reporter, Tim Lopes, smuggled a camera into the crime-infested favelas, home to 1 in 5 of Rio's population, and they are run by the drug lords. Tim Lopes was the 4th child of a police lieutenant and a teacher. The family of 12 lived in a 3-room shanty. Lopes' sister Tanya and his brother Miro went back to their childhood home.
From an early age, Tim was concerned about the children in the neighborhood who had less than we had. Once he brought a little boy home and told my mother to feed him. This boy ate with us for 15 years.
Growing up in the favelas gave Lopes a sense of mission. He hoped to reduce the level of inequality in Brazil.
He would cry sometimes, feeling sad about the things he had seen. But he had no rage, because when he set to write, he believed he was doing his work, and that his investigation would change the world.
Sandra Quintelia is the mother of Lopes' son, Bruno.
I met Tim in a party. Everybody wanted to dance with him, because he was a great dancer. He danced with all the women in the party. He was the party.
They were together for 10 years, and they continue to be great friends. Lopes' stories revealed the dirty world beneath Rio's glitter. He documented the city's rat-infested kitchens. He told the stories of the street children addicted to inhaling glue, and the drug party named Rio's most ruthless criminals. Lopes made himself powerful enemies. The report presented the favelas as lawless and drug-ridden, which they were, and it accused the government of ceding control to the drug dealers. The impact was immediate. It galvanized opposition to the drug dealers, it challenged politicians, and it won Lopes Brazil's top prize for journalism. He was now in very great danger. Nassif Elias Sobrinho, president of the Journalists Union, said Lopes was the only hope that Rio's poor had.
Tim Lopes was called because there was no one to hear their problem. The community told the police many times and nothing was done.
On the day in question, Lopes left his wallet, his cell phone, and his dress shirt in his office at TV Globo. Cesar Seabra was Lopes' boss for 7 years.
He was doing a story about the funk dance parties in Rio de Janeiro. There, dealers sold drugs and promoted child prostitution in the poor communities.
From the television studio, Lopes went to a local mall where he was rigged with a hidden camera. Inspector Daniel Gomes of Rio's Civil Police.
Tim Lopes left towards the Vila Cruzeiro. It was very dangerous work because Tim Lopes, as a crime reporter, was entering this place without telling the police or any security organization.
Lopes went into the favelas wired and unarmed, believing that he could operate safely.
Most of the journalists working at Globo's office are middle class. Only a few people live like Tim used to live, in the favelas.
When Inspector Gomes recreates what happened that night, he went into the favelas with 12 heavily armed military policemen.
He came to this bar and he bought a beer. And from here, he came back to this piece of concrete. He was filming all the drug dealers over there, selling cocaine and passing by on motorcycles with guns.
A little boy had approached Lopes at a bar. Lopes did not know the boy was the lookout for a drug dealer.
This was the place where he was captured. Shortly after his capture, he was taken to one of the alleys where he was tied. Then, Elias, the madman, was contacted at the Grotto slum, and the order was given that a car would come to pick him up.
Without a weapon or a phone, Lopes was helpless. His captor shot him in both legs and then put him into the trunk of a Fiat. Gomez and his entourage drive the same route that the injured Lopes was taking.
Isso aqui na madrugada, o horário em que Tim Lopes foi capturado à noite.
Over that opening, Tim Lopes was tortured. Over there is a sports field. This is the sign the drug dealers give to warn each other that there are policemen around.
The police reported that Elias, the madman, and his gang conducted a mock trial and sentenced Lopes to death.
They brought him over this valley around 2 in the morning and took his life. Here, Tim Lopes was cruelly beaten and his legs were cut with a samurai sword.
Overnight, Lopes went from byline to headline. On June the 10th, 2002, after their arrest on other charges, 2 of the gang members confessed to the murder.
Here, after being burned, his body was smashed with a sharp object. You can still see the marks over here on the stone. Kidnapped, judged, tortured, executed Tim Lopes.
A month later, police found Lopes's remains. Only his rib bone, plus his watch, a crucifix, and his hidden camera.
A morte do Tim, acho que abriu também.
The death of Tim Lopes opened our eyes to a new reality. Now our dilemma is to figure out how to report stories from the neighborhoods controlled by the drug dealers.
Seabra says the culture of crime reporting must change.
Nós cansamos de dar páginas inteiras de...
We're tired of giving the criminals the front page. We're tired of interviewing the criminal on TV. We're tired of empowering the criminal in order to get an exclusive.
On September the 19th, 2002, Elias, the madman, was arrested.
This is Elias the madman, the boss of the drug trade. At the moment he is arrested, waiting to be sentenced for this crime.
His trial date is set for March 2004. For the Committee to Protect Journalists Ann Cooper, Lopes's story has had impact around the world.
Freedom of the press, having an independent media, some other source of news besides the government, is so important to any democracy. When a journalist is killed, like Tim Lopes in Brazil, that can have a very chilling effect on all of the media in the country.
Now, 1 year later, Lopes's family is trying to mend its broken spirit and find the strength to go on.
My son asked me what could he do for his father. I said, use the weapons your father used to use. Use the words.
After Tim Lopes's murder, over the next 10 months, according to the Committee to Protect Journalists, 29 more reporters have lost their lives, an average of 3 per month. Keep in mind, this is before hostilities in Iraq have even begun. When we return, David Bloom, a fixture in America's living rooms, on the front lines with U.S. troops. On March 20th, 2003, the long simmering tensions between the U.S. and Saddam Hussein break out into full-blown conflict. Journalists from around the world move in to cover the fighting. Some are embedded with U.S. and British troops. Others remain on their own. Here's NBC nightly news anchor Tom Brokaw with the story of his friend and colleague, David Bloom.